Welcome back to week 11 of Ultimate League. I'm Imi, replacing Bilal, who after his newfound contract has decided to take a holiday already. This week we've got plenty of action to show you as the teams push for the final places in the gold tier. Now we bring you game 1, which is Dream Team versus FC Iraq. Dream Team were hoping to close the gap on Manchester's finest, who played Baroni. FC Iraq come into the game on good form, having contained Manchester's finest last week. The game plan looked the same this week as they looked to hold off a Dream Team who were without the suspended Bobby Rizvi. The game followed a typical pattern as Dream Team dominated possession as well as most of the chances. Iraq did well to contain them but had to thank their keeper Sinner for some good saves. FC Iraq took the lead in the first half against the run of play after Jaffa's audacious lob. Dream Team continued to play the same way as they pushed on for an equaliser. As the game wore on, it looked like another frustrating afternoon for Dream Team. It took a deflected effort from Marwan to wrong foot Sinner and give Dream Team the equaliser. They hoped to push on for the win, however they incurred a setback when this push on Jaffa was deemed to be a penalty by the referee. Of all the players in Ultimate League, you'd probably put your house on Eamon to put this away, but it shows pressure gets to the best of us and Jiggs redeemed himself with this save. This game finished 1-1, giving Manchester's finest a great opportunity to extend their lead at the top against Baroni. FC Iraq have picked up form in recent weeks with 2 draws on the bounce, but were unable to get into the gold tier. They will now look to duplicate last year's feat of winning the silver tier. Now let's hear what Dream Team's manager Atiq thought of the game.
Chances. They got very lucky on the counter. Jaffa just toe poking it over the keeper.
He was route one.
But you know, it's one of them games. You just got to finish your chances. But you know, you have a more game, and next time, you know, we still can win this league. We're still going to win it.
After Dream Team's draw, we now bring you Game 2, which sees Manchester's finest take on Baroni. Manchester's finest come into this game as league leaders, but on a bad run of form, having dropped 4 points out of the last 6. FC Baroni still hold title ambitions, however they have also dropped points in recent weeks. Both teams were looking to capitalise on the earlier draw by Dream Team. FC Baroni started the better, having scored within the first few minutes of the game. Following that early goal, both teams settled down, and you could tell the pressure was on as both teams didn't want to give away an inch. That was reflected by there being minimal chances in the first half. The second half livened up with both teams having chances to score. Manchester's finest managed to hit back with this tap-in from Aki. That spurred on Manchester's finest. And the second goal was a very similar fashion, with this shot falling into the path of Aki, who neatly tucked it away. Aki scoring 2 goals from 2 yards. Take note, Shaf. That deflated FC Baroni, and Manchester's finest hit them again on the counter-attack. Faz probably should have squared the ball to Mojama earlier, however the ball found its way to the front man anyway, and he didn't make any mistake with the finish, adding gloss to the final score, which in reality was a very close game. FC Baroni will need to make sure that they take their chances when they dominate games, especially in the gold tier. After that win, Manchester's finest move 3 points clear of Dream Team at the top. There's 5 tough games now between them and the title. Let's see how they hold their nerve. Malik was too distraught to give an interview this week, so now let's hear from Manchester's finest.
Very good game. 2 weeks in a row we've drawn 2 games. At top of the table we can't be doing this. Today we came out and we shone by the top.
Now we bring you Game 3, which is MFC against JJGK. Going into this game, there were 4 teams playing for the last 3 gold tier places. MFC, going into this game, was sitting in 6th place and needed a win to have any chance of remaining in the gold tier. They also needed other results to go their way. MFC dominated early on, and it was Chris's cutback that found Mahmoud with this neat finish to open the scoring. In a near carbon copy move, Chris cut in from the left and laid off Shani to double the lead. The keeper was unlucky after an initial outstanding save. JJGK looked out of ideas and were struggling to make any inroads, and were forced to play on the counter-attack. In the second half, the game started the same way, with Chris getting in on the action and scoring a great goal. Unfortunately, you'll have to take our word for it, as the camera didn't see it coming.
Yeah, that's right, Chuck, man.
The game turned on its head after Riz blocked an effort on the line using his hand. He was rightly sent off, and Magic player Ali Majidi slotted the penalty home. This really spurred on JJGK, and they were dominating for the next 10 minutes.
20 years later, of course it does what consciousness faded. New generations believe in them fables. Gangsta boogie on 2 turntables. So no love, so it's easy to hate it. Desecrated radical.
They were unable to take advantage, and MFC sealed the win late on with this penalty. JJGK were unable to repeat last year's performance and reach the gold tier. They remain in silver and now face a tough relegation battle. MFC did their job with this win, and now waited anxiously for other results to go their way.
We played quite well. They did alright. They did come back into it after an incident, but we owe a lot to Chris. We think he played well.
Player of the season, man.
Yeah, player of the season by far.
Game 4 now brings you Barcelona versus Bayer Leverkusen. Similar to JJGK, Barcelona have had a terrible season and have not reached the levels that they achieved last year. Before this game, they had no chance of reaching the gold tier, but looked to improve on their relegation position with a win against Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen, on the other hand, have performed very well and would be harsh done by if they didn't reach the gold tier. It was quickly clear that there would be no chance of that happening as they ran Barcelona ragged. Barcelona were without some key players, but that's been the story of their season so far. But all the credit must go to Bayer Leverkusen, as they produced some outstanding football and some great goals. John opened the scoring with this cracking half volley after Barcelona failed to clear their lines properly. Last season's Young Player of the Year, Adam Rami, really turned it on and got himself a hat-trick, the first after this great dribbling run. Bayer Leverkusen continued to dominate, and this was shown by the 4th goal, which was a powerful header from Daniel. Adam completed the scoring and his hat-trick with this tap-in. Bayer Leverkusen took their foot off the gas after leading 5-0, and this allowed Barcelona to grab 2 consolation goals. The game finished 5-2, and Bayer Leverkusen are one of the dark horses going into the final 5 games in the gold tier. Barcelona, on the other hand, look woefully out of form and will be looking to recruit during this transfer window to avoid relegation. Now let's hear from Bayer Leverkusen's manager, Mustafa Alkadar, and a couple of his players.
I think a good game. We have first time in 10 weeks we have full team for a change. So we kept it fresh. The boys play very well. I have to give big credit to every single player. They put a lot of heart and soul in the game, and we did well. Slightly disappointed conceding 2 goals, but we wanted to give a lot of game time to a lot of players, so all in all I think good result.
2 goals though. What happened?
Well,
I've got this. We were playing 5-0. We were 5-0 up. And we had a bit of a tiff before the game, okay? He thought he disciplined me. And this Mourinho apparently took me off. Ridiculous decision with those 2 goals.
Absolutely crazy.
He's the one to blame.
Terrible management.
Unbelievable.
Well,
See if I'm here next week.
basically, he spat his dummy out beginning of game, and he played well. Credit to him, but it's a squad team. There's no big what as they say. There's
no AN team.
There's no player bigger than team. So if he doesn't like it, he can go somewhere else. But I'm happy to have him as long as he's happy to play. I'm happy.
Game 5 saw underdogs play Heaton and Salford. Heaton and Salford were aiming to win this one to jump out of the relegation zone. Underdogs, on the other hand, knew that they must win, and win big, to get into the gold tier. This game was even early on, but Underdogs looked like they had more of a cutting edge. They opened the scoring after a powerful run from Sahel, who saw his cutback find his brother Ali, who scored with a great finish. Heaton and Salford did come back with a couple of chances after this, however they were unable to take them. Underdogs continued to press on, and it was Aftab whose cutback found Alex to finish from close range.
So it's time time to leave you a
They made it 3 soon after another great run from Captain Sahel. His finish gave the keeper no chance. Going into half-time, underdogs knew they needed more goals to push for that gold tier spot, as they were still behind on goal difference, even though they were leading 3-0.
help to keep them crime rhymes on the shelf. Live love life like you just don't care. 5,000 leaders never scared. Rain and noise is the moment they feared. Get up, still a beautiful idea.
Unfortunately, they were unable to take advantage in the second half, missing a few chances of their own. Heaton and Salford went close, but finished the game with 7 men after another red card for Jamie. The game finished 3-0, with underdogs hoping that TSCI wouldn't get the win and claim the final gold tier spot. Heaton and Salford remain in the relegation zone, but will now look to the next 5 games to get themselves out of it. Game 6 saw TSCI face off against Unity, knowing that underdogs and MFC had both managed to win their games earlier in the day. TSCI knew that any victory would get them that final gold tier spot, and they went out for the win. Unity have had a poor season so far and lie bottom of the league. However, this week they recruited a professional player in Nathan Ellington. TSCI came out of the blocks flying on this one. They had several chances in the first half, which you can see from the highlights here. Unity rarely threatened the TSCI goal, but did have a couple of half chances. Nathan Ellington was kept quiet by Lazzi and was unable to influence the game in the first half. Unbelievably, this game remained 0-0 at half-time.
Rolling stones of the rap game, not bragging. Look bigger than Jagger, not sagging. Roll it backwards, I'ma leave it at that.
In the second half, TSCI were given a lifeline. The ref awarded a penalty for a slide in the box. Dead ball specialist Yusuf was on hand again to coolly slot home this penalty. This seemed to relax TSCI, and they continued to produce chances. Unity's goalkeeper was in excellent form and made some great saves keeping them in this tie. Their resilience was broken, and Yusuf doubled the lead with this great left foot half volley. Unfortunately, you'll have to take our word for it, as it came out of the blue. The last few minutes were made nervy after Unity scored with 5 minutes remaining. However, TSCI didn't look like giving this result away and managed to close the game out. They won 2-1 and go into the gold tier on the narrowest of margins, with goals scored putting them ahead of underdogs. There are plenty of rumours around players wanting to join TSCI, so we look forward to the transfer window. Unity remain bottom of the table and have 5 games left to get out of the relegation zone. They'll be hoping they can keep their recent addition for the rest of the season.
I think Lazzi was fantastic today. Iffy fantastic. Eki had a great game. Saeed for some reasons.
He's close to being a finished article.
Saeed, if he gets some goals in his game, you know, I think definitely in the goal tier, I think he's going to turn it on.
Now we bring you the action from Division 2. The story going into this week was that Gladiators claimed top spot last week, but they were equal on points with Super 8s and MIC. We start with Gladiators' game versus Ultistars. Gladiators were dominant in this game as they looked to try and create a gap at the top of the table. They added to their goal difference as well by winning 5-1. The scoring was opened by Gladiators after this penalty, and we expected them to kick on from here. However, Ultistars had other ideas and they equalised late in the first half. The second half turned out how we expected, with Gladiators dominating and scoring 4 more goals.
That's what you gotta do. You got to tell them just like that. You know what I'm saying? Cause yo, let me tell you a little something, man. These brothers running around, hard-headed, they get a little jealous, you know what I'm saying? Just like that. You know, they try to bring you down with them. But yo, Chuck, you got to tell them just like that.
So it's time to leave you a preview, so you too can review what we do. 20 years in this business, how you sell soul, she wins. People bear witness. Thank you for letting us be ourselves. So don't mind me if I repeat myself. These simple lines be good for your health. To keep them.
The game finished 5-1 and sees Gladiators keep their place at the top of the table. At present, they look to be the promotion favourites with 5 games left to go. Game 2 sees MIC playing Sarkis 8. MIC have been in great form this season, losing to Super 8s only. The last time they lost, they bounced back with a run of victories, and they hope to do the same. This week, they were playing against Sarkis 8, who are a dangerous proposition and completely unpredictable. This game was relatively even, with Sarkis 8 looking up for the battle. It was MIC who opened the scoring in the first half, with what appeared to be an own goal after the defenders failed to clear. This spurred on Sarkis 8, and they found the equaliser midway through the second half. MIC missed a couple of good chances to regain the lead, and it was Sarkis 8 who scored late on to take all 3 points. MIC have now suffered back-to-back defeats for the first time this season, and are now 3 points off the pace at the top. They'll have to win next week to get back into the promotion race. Next up, we have Super 8s against Jabe. Super 8s ended their run of draws with a good late win against MIC last week. It was evident that they missed their frontman Sham, and he was back for this game. Jabé, on the other hand, have been inconsistent but did bring a strong team this week, including a couple of recruits from Division 1. In honesty, Super 8s led by Sham dominated this game. They had plenty of chances and ended up 6-2 winners. Bilal got back into scoring with a hat-trick, and Sham added to his goal tally for the season by also getting himself a hat-trick.
Responsibility. Ask the police who's stopping you from killing me. Disasters, fiascos, or loop by PE. If it's eyes, then we believe on TV. Spreading riches, bitches, as we think about snitches. Watch the masses move as a mass of switches. System distant, but barely missed her. My soul intention to save my brothers and sisters. Get up.
Just like that.
Get up.
Just like that.
Get up.
Just like that.
Get up.
Just like that. Yeah, that's right, Chuck, man. That's what you gotta do. You got to tell them just like that. You know what I'm saying? Cause yo, let me tell you a little something, man. These brothers run.
Jabé, in all honesty, never looked like winning this game, and will look to finish as high as they can, with their promotion challenge all but over now. This victory was well needed for Super 8s to keep up the pace at the top of the table.
Our team was working hard. Just get our passes off. We got 2 hat-tricks and that was it.
Finally, the last game of this week brings you Mab versus Noor Stars. Noor Stars came into this game after a fabulous result last week, getting their biggest win of the season. Mab have been in relatively good form but were defeated by Gladiators last week. Both teams were in mid-table and both wanted to win to try and push for the promotion places. This game was edgy and bitty at times, with both teams struggling to play good football. The scoring was opened after this fantastic strike from Bilal Al-Kafaf, and he enjoyed this one, as you can see. It looked like Mab would hold out for all 3 points, until Noor Stars equalised very late on with this tap-in. Mab would have been disappointed with 1 point, and it wasn't until captain Omar Tekriti stepped up in the last minute with this free kick. Mab get a valuable 3 points, and keep their slim chance of promotion alive. Just as a reminder, the transfer window is now open for Division 1, and closes at 6 PM on Friday. Here are the league tables following the division split. Here's the league table for Division 2. Here are next week's fixtures. Here are the ultimate moments of the week.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I've been Imran, thanks a lot for watching this week. We'll see if Bilal's private jet can get him back in time for Friday. One final reminder, the presentation evening will be on the 13th of June, so please get your tickets from Nesma this Friday.